Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Heat take the Lakers down 112-98 at home, FTX Arena in Miami. Tough game for the Lakers, man. I really like what I saw in the fourth quarter. If I want to just skip forward and just get straight into what we're going to talk about, I really like what I saw from the team in the fourth quarter because they really were scrappy. We're down by 22 points after a battle that just wasn't going our way, and then we're just kind of chipping away in the fourth. We just kind of put some guys in. Troy Brown came in and just immediately continued shooting perfectly, just like he did in Orlando. Or something about Florida with him. He was really enjoying his tenure in that state shooting the ball. And just kind of helped spearhead, the return of the Lakers. Cut it to 10. Gave us a little bit of chance. It's what I call it, a little bit of a chance. And I thought that was something to be really pleased with. If we're going to start with the good, I like that we fought. I also like, for the most part, how we shot the ball. Shooting the ball was not the problem tonight. We actually shot better than the Miami Heat, slightly better than the Miami Heat from a percentage standpoint in just about everywhere. 3 field goals, and I think they edged us out at the free throw by hitting one more than us or something like that. But we pretty much shot better than them. But turnovers, offensive rebounds, that was where we really, really got our butts kicked. They had 10 offensive rebounds, and we had 26 turnovers that turned into 31 points. And mind you, the Miami Heat weren't turning the ball over at all. I don't think they got a single point off a turnover with them, and I think they had like 5 turnovers as a team. So that right there is the end of the story right there. They played defense to the best of their ability, did all that they needed to do to get stops, and their referees did what they were supposed to do as well, taking care of their side of the game, making sure Miami got all their calls. And, that's the difference. The Lakers were definitely aggressive, but the calls were definitely not coming our way. And that was a big problem for me. And I don't like complaining about the refs, but that was a big problem for me tonight. I saw far too much contact coming the Lakers' way with no calls and different questionable things that just tend to lean toward Miami. And I just felt like the game was manipulated tonight in that way. But you can't take nothing away from the Miami Heat, though, because they did a lot of good things that ultimately sealed their win. Bam Adebayo, 14 rebounds, 20-something points. Jimmy Butler was masterful all night. Just looked like the best version of himself, well-rested, off injury. Got to give credit to guys like Caleb Martin, who were hitting shots. Gabe Vincent, those guys really complimented very well. And even though they weren't hitting the shots very well, you got to give the defense overall of a guy by the name of Victor Oladipo all the credit in the world for what he was able to do defensively, and a guy also off their bench, Orlando Robinson, their center, who came in and did some good things off the bench as well. Max Strus came in and missed a lot of shots. What I said about him aged very well. Unfortunately, he's just a guy who's consistently inefficient shooting the ball. I don't know why they run him so much. It's one of those situations where I expect him to miss about 8 shots a game, and he missed about that many. So between him and Victor Oladipo, and the first half shooting of Tyler Hero, it wasn't really working out. But in the second half, Tyler picked it up completely, added on 8 assists on top of some really good shooting in the second half, and just made it so impossible for us. Got to give Duncan Robinson credit in the third quarter when the Lakers were kind of making a run. He was just hitting shots, keeping us from really ever getting anywhere closer than like 9 or something like that. Just every time we found ourselves trying to get close, here he would come with a bucket, a big key 3 in the third. So I thought that stood out. Yeah, now let's get into some things. First of all, we had some 0 for Gophers we got to give donuts to. Lonnie Walker, pretty terrible out there, and Austin Reeves, just god-awful out there. Austin Reeves, I think what I saw was them attacking Austin. He looked like he was a step slow all night. Everything he was doing was a step slow, and because of it, he was turning the ball over early. He just wasn't able to get anything going. His shot wasn't falling. It was one of those situations where the coach just had to get away from him. When you're 0 for 5 and you've turned the ball over 4 times, it's just nothing you're doing for us. So I just understood why he got pulled out of the game, and I wasn't mad at coach. You just got to, in that respect, you just got to get away from a guy. Unfortunately, he didn't get away from everybody he needed to get away from. We love what we saw from Thomas Bryant in the first half, as I told you guys in the first half reaction video, and I encourage everybody to go check that out because I made some points. that I think really are still standing as the game ended. We have Thomas Bryant out there who's doing so much spectacular stuff, catching the ball, scoring the ball, offensive dunks, offensive rebound, putback dunks, that kind of thing. Loving what I'm seeing from him. He had a mid-range 3-point shot from like the free throw line where he just caught it and shot a nice little jumper in rhythm. I thought that was spectacular, yo. But because I'm trained to watch both sides of the floor, I'm also watching how he's given up just about every single thing he's trying to do. I don't know what the stats will tell us, but it had to be him being the guy that got scored on the most tonight. It seemed like every time he was the guy guarding somebody, it was a connect. And one or a connected shot. It was just like a lot of bad luck and just a lot of bad defense, honestly. Obviously, you want to give credit to the Miami Heat who were pressing the issue and made sure they took this game from us. But there were a lot of things the Lakers did tonight that just kept them from being close as we could have been on a night where Miami really wasn't shooting that well. They were shooting a lot, but we had them in that regard percentage-wise. So I just felt like we kind of caved to their defense, give their defense the credit for putting the pressure on us, forcing a bunch of turnovers. But ultimately, we gave them a lot of unforced ones. I think I counted 11 unforced turnovers on this game. So when you couple that with 10 offensive rebounds that you're giving them, credit Bam Adebayo with 5 of those, I believe. And then you look at and you see the fact that you're not shooting as much as them because of it, it's like, okay, that's where you lost. As we said, we wanted to take the possessions seriously and make sure that we controlled the pace because they had attempted 102 field goals in their previous game against Minnesota. So we knew if we allowed them to shoot as many times as they want to shoot, we had no chance. Because if we have to shoot at volume, we can't keep up with anybody. We're just going to brick more than them, naturally. But it was one of those situations where we weren't really bricking a 3-point shot tonight. We really weren't. We had it going pretty average for ourselves. But when you turn the ball over, you just continue to give a bad shooting team more looks at it. And that's what it was. It was the bad shooting of Max Strus, the bad shooting of Victor Oladipo, all of that was handed right back to him with the 6 turnovers by Bron, the 4 turnovers by Austin, and God knows how many other turnovers by other people as well. It's like 26 turnovers as a basketball team, and you think you're going to beat somebody on their home floor? And you couple that off again with the 10 offensive rebounds, you know how I feel about that. It's like, look, if you're going to give a team that many possessions, that many possessions, 31 points off the turnovers alone, and God knows how many points off the offensive rebound, how the hell are you supposed to even compete? And then you look down there at the rotations our coach put in. Now, God bless Juan Toscano-Anderson. I thought he played really well. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, plus on the plus minus. He gave us what he needed to give us in the fourth quarter. So it's going to sound strange when I say a guy played well and he shouldn't have been down there. But that's exactly what I have to say. He played well, but there was no logical, actual explanation for having him out there when Wenyen Gabriel hadn't missed a shot. Wenyen Gabriel hadn't missed a shot. Troy Brown had only missed 1 shot in 2 games. Why the hell wasn't he on the floor down the stretch of the basketball game? You had 2 guys who hadn't missed but 2 shots. Both of them big enough to play Juan's position. Neither of them on the floor down the stretch of the basketball game when we're trying to come back and score buckets. You got Juan out there who's a non-offensive player, even though he accounted for 9 points with the assist. Or maybe more, depending on if it was a 3-point shot made. You got Dennis Schroeder out there who's trying his best, but he ain't doing nothing defensively. You got Patrick Beverly out there who's been able to score lately, but there's still offensive and defensive deficiencies based on his size and stuff. You got Bron out there going crazy, playing well. And I think you left what was it, Juan Toscano-Anderson? And was it Troy Brown you put down there at the end? No, it was Lonnie Walker, I believe, was on the floor, who was struggling heavily. No, it was Westbrook. Excuse me, it was Westbrook, who had played a very good game, and I really liked what I saw from him. That was who they rounded out that particular rotation with down the stretch of the game. And he left that lineup on the floor for 7 minutes. The last final 7 to 8 minutes of the fourth quarter. I'm sitting there watching Juan Toscano-Anderson, who hadn't run around in 3 weeks off a fresh injury. And 3 guards in LeBron James. And several guys who hadn't missed a shot sitting on our bench. And so it's one of those situations where you're Troy had it. We were talking about Troy yesterday in Orlando game. We said, which Troy is it? Is he coming out confident? Superstar Troy, poor man, Paul George Troy. Is he gonna be? I don't want to be here, Troy. I'm YMCA Troy. He was superstar Troy tonight. You could see it by the way he was running the floor. You could see it by the way that immediately as he subbed in, how he was shooting the ball, even though it didn't fall the first couple shots. You could just see that this was confident Troy. He was very much feeling himself off of yesterday's performance and was intent on being confident. And you saw that confidence carry forth in the minutes given to him in the third and fourth quarter, but we just didn't stay with him. And that's my thing with the coaches, like your instincts. They betray you, friend. What are you leaning on? Patrick Beverley out there doing good for the most part. I like what I saw from Pat. You know what I'm saying? But you know what our problems are. Dennis Schroeder had a bad game, man. But down the stretch of the fourth quarter, started hitting a couple buckets and ultimately was able to get some respectable numbers. But he wasn't playing well through three quarters, and we had him out there the whole time. It's like, what are you leaning on, coach? His rotations were awful tonight, yo. And I know he was trying to patch holes up because certain players weren't playing well. So you got to, if I can't go with him, I got to go with him. If I can't go with him, I got to go with him. And I refer back to him saying just throwing things at the wall. Remember when he said he put 5 guards on the floor, he's just throwing things at the wall. But here's my thing with him throwing things at the wall. This man throwing everything at the wall you don't want thrown at the wall. He's throwing a dog at the wall. He's throwing his wife at the wall. He's throwing the books at the wall. He's throwing the TV at the wall. He's throwing your money at the wall. Stop throwing stuff at the wall. Don't need to be thrown at the wall, dog. Can we use some common sense as it pertains to our instincts? If we have the only guy who's getting any defensive success, rim protection, and he's not missing a single shot in Wenyen Gabriel, because we were getting stops on the defense. He was the only person getting stops in the paint, to be honest with you. Nobody else who was tall was getting any stops in the paint. Now, some of our shorter guys, like Russell Westbrook and Troy, Patrick Beverley, I saw them get weak side blocks, but didn't have no weak side help off of those blocks. Whoever was supposed to rotate to receive the defensive rebound gave up the offensive rebound, and they were able to score on both of those plays. These are the type of things I'm looking at. I'm saying, Coach, if my point guards are blocking shots in the paint, what does that tell me? That tells me I have absolutely no defense on the floor. There's no rim protection on the floor. And there's nobody to even think big on the floor to help the smallest who are thinking big. And this is what small ball gives you. No easy rebounds, no easy possessions. And small guys having to scramble around to do big guy things. And it just made life easier on the Miami Heat. Extremely easy. When you got Bam Adebayo getting 14 boards, 5 of them offensive, these are the things that credit to that. This is how that happens. When you don't put a legitimate center on the floor. And you got Thomas Bryant running around doing offensive things, but he can't get no stops. It's like, yo, it's a collaboration of Darvin Ham and, of course, our GM. Y'all got to respect size, both of you. You can't put the GM, Rob Pelinka, you can't put together a team with this little talented bigs. It can't happen, man. We've got Ron Toscano-Anderson, Thomas Bryant, and Damian Jones. That rotation of bigs is by far the worst in the league, man. It's the worst in the entire NBA. Let's just be real. Damian's not even playable. You know what I mean? And we got this fresh open roster spot, and we ain't called Jay Huff up. We ain't called Paris Bass up. We ain't called none of these big-time G League guys that are just running through the G League like crazy right now. And they all on our roster, and we got them credited to our team, and we're not even using them. And I'm like, there's no logical explanation for the Lakers having these issues other than them paying too much attention to things that are going on the books as it pertains to the cap and not enough attention to what's going on the court. And those things affect one another. And we're not giving enough credence to both. And that's the problem. If your team looks trash, your value of your talent isn't as high. This is the part that the Lakers are missing out of their equation as they're assessing everything they're doing. You're leaving your team at a disadvantage to where LeBron James is playing 29 points or whatever it is, 7 assists, whatever his numbers were tonight. And he can't get a victory even though he's playing well. And it's Rob's fault because he's giving a rookie coach a bad roster. And as a result, the rookie coach is leaning on stuff that don't make sense, throwing stuff at the wall that has no business being thrown at the wall. That's what I'm saying. It's like, come on, man. His instincts are not helping us. And I'm a fan watching stuff. opportunities go by the wayside. I look at a guy like Max Christie. We needed his length tonight. We needed his rebound tonight. We needed his shooting tonight. We needed his rebound. All of the stuff that he does. His defensive play. Some of the stuff that Victor Oladipo was offsetting. I think Max Christie could have helped us defensively. Now, granted, he would have probably had the ball turned over. He would have probably turned the ball over more times than anybody else because he's a young player. But you needed his skill set. You needed his defense, and you needed his shooting. And you played him like he was some type of scrub. And I'm like, bro, the production that he's given us in the minutes that he's played does not match that faith that you're applying in the player. There's no logic to this, his instincts. There's none. He's leaning on Dennis Schroeder. Dennis is struggling. He's leaning on Patrick Beverly. Patrick's struggling. He's leaning on Lonnie Walker. Lonnie's struggling. What are you throwing at the wall, my guy? Is it the PC? You gonna throw the phone at the wall? What's next? What you're throwing at the wall is our season. Punting it with your instincts, and they're not helping our team, and everybody's telling you this. So that's what it is, man. I'm frustrated. I'm not really mad at the players. I thought they did everything they could within the space that they were given. I thought Patrick was really, really active, hit a bunch of shots. His efficiency is starting to increase, and we're happy. Thomas Bryant in the first half offensively was spectacular. LeBron James in the first half offensively was spectacular. You know what I mean? I saw some great things. Russell Westbrook was phenomenal all game long. I like what I saw from him, even though him and Dennis Schroeder missed the three-point shots down the stretch of the game. When you know they're going to miss, that's what I'm saying. Rotations, it's like, look, that ain't their fault. If you're going to leave them on the floor with LeBron James to make clutch plays, they're going to brick clutch shots because that's not in their game. Russell Westbrook may hit a clutch shot here and there, but you don't want to put him in positions to have to hit a clutch three, man. That's not his game. You know, you put Dennis Schroeder on the floor, he hit a couple shots, but that's not he's not the guy you want down the stretch of the basketball game when things are going wrong on the road in Miami. You know what I'm saying? What you want is the guys who have played well during that game to be on the floor down the stretch of the game. So, and give yourself as much rim protection as possible. So, I like I said, for all that we're talking about here, Juan Toscano Anderson did fantastic stuff with his minutes. Like, fantastic stuff. But it's not necessarily about how it turned out. It's about the choices that we're making, and luckily enough, it turned out. But why in the hell did you even go that route? Why did you even do that? You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. Like, yeah, luckily enough, he played well. But, I mean, did it lead to the win? No. Hell no, it didn't lead to no win. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a non-offensive player. He ain't going to count for no real scoring, fam. You just got to understand the holes of the players on your team. And there's just certain things that this guy's not taking into account. I think for him, it's like a personality. I like Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly, my guy, I can trust him. It's like, what the hell that got to do with the basketball floor, man? Make him a coach if that's the thing. You feel me? That's how I feel about Udonis Haslem in Miami, too. Low-key. They should have made him a coach a long time ago and stopped playing around with roster spots like that. Roster spots are too hard. People are dreaming all over the world to be in the NBA. And Udonis Haslem's just sitting there for sentiment. And I think there's something wrong with that. I really do. I respect what they're doing with Udonis as it pertains to him being a pillar and a mascot and a bulldog and all of that. And you could do all of that from a consulting role. You don't need to be taking a roster spot from Dreamers. So I think that's important to say when we talk about the Miami Heat. But anyway, aside from that, just that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. The point is the Los Angeles Lakers are on my mind. And I just did not think our players played bad. I don't think that they gave me a lack of effort. Guys were hustling, diving, sweating, caring. I love what I saw in regards to Russell Westbrook and LeBron James particularly. They're playing better together. There's synergy. They're talking. Guys are starting to develop a chemistry with one another that I think may be to no avail since the team is trash. But I'm liking what I'm seeing there. If we were to pull it together, Bron and Westbrook are starting to look like real teammates, and that is important. You know what I'm saying? So that's big. Him and Patrick Beverly, all three of them, they're starting to get along. They're putting their heads together. And hopefully we can give them something to make this make sense. So that's what I see there. I thought that the team took some good steps with the chemistry. That's something positive that we definitely want to acknowledge in regards to this particular basketball game. But it didn't come to nothing. It didn't come to nothing because we still lost. And I do believe that a lot of it had to do with our coach and his decision-making, trying to patch up holes, throwing stuff up against the wall. It shouldn't be thrown there. You know, can we just get back to conventional basketball? Whether it gives us something or takes something from us. Keeping it simple and having self-awareness is so important. I'm a rookie coach. I'm in charge of a basketball team that's in flux right now. It's all kinds of trouble. Let's not throw anything else at the wall. Nothing else. Let it be conventional. Let it be size matchups. Let it be stuff that makes sense according to what we're seeing on the floor. And let's lean on guys who are playing well and lean away from people who are not. Facts over feelings. I've literally seen the absolute and utter opposite from this coach. And I want him to reverse that immediately so I can believe in him once again. Because we're tumbling down the standings. We're losing games we probably have an opportunity to win, even though this one probably ain't one of them. We're losing games we probably have an opportunity to win, and it's his fault. It's dumb rotations. Okay, let's rip the Band-Aid off. These rotations are not smart. What I saw down there in the fourth quarter tonight was not smart. What I saw down there against Dallas was not smart. We need to call it like we're seeing it, man. We got to enter some intellect into the situation. Because what I'm seeing is just flat out stupid. And I'm sure most of Laker Nation agrees with me. So let's get away from this. I like Patrick Beverley as much as the next guy, and he's been balling out. So if we can use him in rotations that allow him to continue to look as good as he does, I'm always fine with that. But let's not do this Dennis Schroeder's Patrick Beverley stuff no more. It does not work. This DSBS is horrible, man. You know, if we reacted to his struggles and Patrick's struggles the same way we react to everybody else's struggles, we wouldn't see them as much. We just simply wouldn't. So let's stop the politic ball, Darvin. Politics over basketball is what you should have said, because that's what's happening out there. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. My thing is always going to be, if I like somebody, I don't want to put them in a position to look worse. So don't think giving a guy playing time and having him out there getting cooked is you doing a favor for him. Believe me, it's not. It's really not. So let's just put that out there. Free LeBron James, man. That's really what I got to say. If I want to address the king in regards to this, I just hate the fact that he signed that extension. I wish he didn't do that to himself. This team's not to be stuck to at all. You know what I'm saying? The only people who should be stuck to it is people like myself who love it. That's it. Everybody else, if it's not about winning, it's time to go somewhere else to go get a victory. Like, I would say the same thing if he was in some other situation and the Lakers happened to be another team he was at. I'd be like, nah, he shouldn't be there. They ain't doing right by him. Look who they got him on the floor with. And that's exactly what I found myself saying tonight. Look who they got him on the floor with. And 4 guards, a center that can't rim protect. Nah. If we can't do better than this, then we need to trade AD to get ourselves some players that can make us a decent team. That's the only responsible thing left to do. I'm telling you, that's it. And you seeing games like this dropped, and I'm telling you, it wasn't nothing the Lakers could do to win this game. Surely we could have did some things that have made it so that we were more competitive, but Jimmy and Bam and Tyler weren't giving us this basketball game. You feel me? But my thing is always going to be, I'm not worried about whether we win or lose. I just want to see us be competitive so we can work against tendencies and ultimately take care more of what we can control. And when we run stuff down there that doesn't play to guys' strengths, and we leave ourselves natural holes on the floor with guys that can only play one side of the ball and other guys who can only do certain things, it's like, coach, this is not that difficult of a thing, man. It's not. Just play the guy's strengths and weaknesses, and if you don't know what they are, then sit down with a guy and find out. You know what I'm saying? What do you like to do? Where do you want to catch the ball? These type of conversations should have been already had with each and every player. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be sitting up here saying leaving small people to guard tall people unless it's Russell Westbrook specifically in certain situations, or Patrick Beverley specifically in certain situations where we know they can take advantage. But this size mismatch, not caring about if a guy's tall enough, it's not enough. We're losing because of it. Salute the Kobe minute. Obviously, we want to give Kobe the credit each and every time the 24-minute is seen on our camera. Man, and I'm pretty sure he would not be pleased with this game tonight. I know he would like the effort. I like the effort. I saw all the effort I wanted to see. Nobody cheated me out of effort. Not even the people who struggled. I think the problem was we didn't meet the intellect of a Miami Heat team who outcoached us tonight. A team that had just quicker players on the floor, better players on the floor, and ultimately we're able to take advantage. Kyle Lowry didn't even play tonight. We didn't miss him either. Didn't even miss him. I didn't even notice he wasn't out there till right now. I kid you not. I never missed him. And I'm sure that he didn't either, because they were fully equipped to beat our team that's not fully equipped to beat anybody at this point. So I just want to give credit to Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Troy Brown, Patrick Beverley, Thomas Bryant, Wenyen Gabriel. Guys played well. Dennis Schroeder, they all put together good efforts. But I just felt like they were out-strategized, and our coach didn't react well to the strategy against them. He didn't react well to guys struggling against good defense. And we just lost another game. Lost another basketball game, y'all. Los Angeles Lakers season is just going down the toilet left and right. And there's so many different games that we should have won, because there were going to be games like this one where we couldn't have won. And that's why the Indy game and the Boston game and the Philly game is always going to be something we think about. Because it's like, here we are in a situation like this. Charlotte, too. We could have won a Charlotte game, too. There were several others. But this one was like, Miami took care of business. But we were fighting. That's the thing. We hit shots. Their defense was stifling, but we hit shots. And I just think that when you cut it to 10 down the stretch of a basketball game, like 4 or 5 minutes to go, Bron James hitting shots, everybody's really good, the momentum's on your side, you got to put in the hot hands. It's time to put in Wenyen Gabriel. You know what I'm saying? It's time to put in the lineup and the rotation that you saw best work in that game. Depending on the matchup, obviously, on the floor. But the matchup on the floor at that time were conventional. Wasn't none weird stuff going on with Miami. We should have been putting our best players on the floor. Troy Brown should have been out there because he was scoring. And he's one of our best defensive players. You know what I'm saying? Lonnie should have been benched. Of course, as I said, Austin couldn't get nothing going, even though I trust Austin to get it going, even though he's struggling. He's one of those guys, just like Tyler Hero, to where, yeah, Tyler was struggling in the first half, but that didn't mean he had to struggle in the second. So I think Austin, is one of those guys where it's like, you probably do want to put, you don't want to get away from him for an entire game. If he struggles in the first half, you do want to call his number in the second and see if he got it. He's one of those. But to me, it just seemed like he was a step slow. I don't know if the ankle injury is still messing with him or not, but it felt like it was like he could not physically get it going for the second back-to-back game. So, yeah, I guess that could be part of the problem, too, if you want to give him some bail, second of a back-to-back, So I get that. But it wasn't effort. That wasn't the problem. If you want to say something like, oh, the second of a back-to-back, they were sluggish. They weren't sluggish. The team was not sluggish. They were not. They were just out-hustled by a team that was better than them and poorly put together both strategy and with the GM, as we know. That was why we lost, straight up. And then turnovers and stuff like that, 26 turnovers, 10 offensive boards, as I said. Yeah, you're not going to do nothing good for yourself. You're going to lose. You're just simply not going to beat the Heat. So that's what it was, man. Give the Heat all the credit. Again, it's not like the Lakers would have beat them even if we would have played well. I don't think. They just had it all together. A couple of questionable guys we didn't think would play came out and played great. Stars, too. Bam and Jimmy. We were hoping they wouldn't go. And they basically were the focal point. So, and then Tyler, of course, he's going to do what he does. It just was us being outmatched tonight, and our coach not doing nothing with that understanding that could really help the team get over the hump. So that's what it was, man. Another frustrating loss for you Los Angeles Lakers people. My frustration level with the front office is only growing. I need them to fill that final roster spot, if nothing else, and do a serious revamping of what it is that they want to do. Because if we're sitting here waiting for a Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine trade, if it doesn't bring us 3 and 4 picks to make those contracts make sense, it's just going to tank us even further into a hole that we're already in, giving us more Damian Joneses and Kendrick Nunns to work with. So if we're going to do anything, we better make sure it gives us a future, or we might as well not do anything at all and keep on losing, because that's exactly what will come of doing nothing at all. And look, Jeannie, honestly, I don't think it's something that hasn't been said a million times in this camera. This is not a revelation, but we do need to clean house, man. As I sit here and I look at this roster, this is not an acceptable basketball team. And this is not the first time we've said this about a Los Angeles Lakers basketball club with LeBron James and Anthony Davis attached to it. We got to fire Rob Pelinka, and we got to move on from Klutch if this is why all of this is the case. Failure is to be reacted to with change. You do not promote failure, Jeannie Buss. And that is exactly what we've done here when we continue on this path with this regime. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.